What's up, folks? This is the first NBA live stream that we've had going on in a while. I'm Al Walsh. If you want to follow me on Twitter there, you can do so, 148.walsh. I got Mr. Bear over there hanging out in the corner, it looks like. Mr. Bear here on Twitter is where you can find him. So, my fault. When we were doing the podcast before, it didn't. Typically we have a phone call on Skype, and then that way the recorder just pops up, and basically, we're able to keep something, turn the sound down. Basically it starts recording, and that's how we do the podcast. Well, that recorder didn't go on today, and now that's why we don't have that. We don't have that going, but we're going to be doing this today for you guys. Hopefully we get a lot of news breaking as it goes. So, Mr. Bear, I know, we went through everything already, but, got to do it again for the people. It's a huge slate.
Yeah. I'm hearing that a little bit of choppy audio from you, so hopefully you don't hear. Does my audio come through okay?
Yeah, you sound great. I sound great to me, too.
Well, yeah, that makes one of us who thinks you sound great, so that's good. But, it happens. Well, what can you do? We do want to jump into a few things. You want to cover the audio. The audio.
Yeah,
you want to cover
from what everybody's saying.
You want to cover the some of the injury stuff that we know about already.
Yeah, certainly. We've got obviously the Atlanta Hawks situation is going on there. That's going to be a spot we need to look at. Dennis Schroeder, Ken Bazemore, Ursan Ilyasova, and useless Tyler Kavanaugh all out for tonight's game.
Yeah,
so
your audio is bad. Your audio is bad. Try messing with your connection, and I'll just do some of the new stuff. So you mentioned. So I think the biggest ones with the Hawks. I think you're going to see a lot of guys who don't get much playing time are going to play a lot today. We'll cover as we go into the specific positions. We'll cover who to play, who not to play. There's a lot of thought behind with all the volatility now in the slate and all the injuries and all the people resting before All-Star break. And by the way, this is only what we know so far. Typically, every year when All-Star break comes around, we don't even know about resting players until the game, is about to tip off. So just be aware of that. I wouldn't play too heavy today. Play lightish, but definitely going to be fun in some tournaments.
Right, so do I still sound like a robot or what?
A little more like I'm ordering drive-through at Taco Bell.
All right. How about now? You good?
No, but it's what it is. They can hear you. It's still choppy, so it's fine.
All right. Fair enough. All right. Did you run through all the injury situations? I wasn't really paying attention.
Yeah, some of them. So we talked about that. So an interesting one for me is Devin Booker, who is now probable for Phoenix, and logic would tell us why would he start the game before All-Star break, but they want to play him, and a lot of that for me is Phoenix has been getting embarrassed. They use the word embarrassed in their post-game interviews in the locker room, and the game that they got blown out by 40 to the Warriors, coach didn't even coach the game. He let the Warriors players coach it, and there was some different talks. Some people thought it was disrespectful. Others was like, who cares? No big deal. But I think they're tired of getting embarrassed by 40. And as somebody in the Slack chat said earlier, they only want to lose by 20 now. So they want to get Booker back in so they don't lose by 40. They lose by 20 instead. So that's something to look out for. Some other news, Draymond Green's going to play. He's in. Joel Embiid is questionable. I don't think he plays. I don't think there's a reason for them to play him. So he's not going to play. Satoransky is going to play, so they have a point guard in Washington. Good for them. Joe Johnson just got this notification, has officially signed with the Rockets, and he's available to play tonight. So if Aaron Gordon sits, you might look at some minutes for Joe Johnson at the shooting guard. Yeah, Al, your audio is gone now completely. So maybe try going out and going back in. So that's that. So Chris Dunn is going to be back at the point guard for Chicago, 20 minutes maximum. So he's not going to play more than 20 minutes, so you can't play him. But he might take away from someone like Jerian Grant. He might take away even a little bit from Zach LaVine. So keep an eye out for that. Nurkic is questionable. If Nurkic is questionable, if he sits, there are some pretty strong plays that we'll talk about here as we progress. Okay, so that's all for news. Dragan will start for the Phoenix Suns. We know that already at the center. I don't know how long he's going to last because the Jazz have Gobert, and that's going to be ugly. So just keep that in mind. Okay. How are we looking now? How's the audio coming along? All righty. So let's dive right into the point guards. So my favorite point guards for today, I'm actually going to pass on Russell Westbrook. And the reason why I say that is because, number one, I don't see how this game really stays close. I think Paul George takes Tyreek Evans out of the game. And outside of Marc Gasol, there's nobody else to play to score over there. I can't pay 11-8 for Westbrook when I'm probably going to see 3/4 from him. So no thank you there. My favorite point guard is Damian Lillard. I think Dame is in a really, really good spot in the Hammer game. We didn't record it, so you didn't hear it, but Dame is from Oakland, and he's playing Golden State. Obviously, they're not in Golden State. That's different, but I think that's a very intriguing play for me. That game is supposed to be a close game. We'll take a look at the over-under there. So the over-under for Golden State Portland is 225.5, and Golden State's only favored by 5.5. So if that game stays close, we know Golden State has struggled to guard the point guard here recently. So look at that. I mean, between him and Steph, I'm going to go Dame, because if the Blazers have a shot at keeping the game close, it's because of Damian Lillard, whereas Steph can go off, but they don't need him to go off to win or to keep it close. So I'm definitely going Dame there. I brought it up a little bit earlier. So the Rockets played last night. The Rockets are a juggernaut of a team right now. They are heading into All-Star break. I don't think they care enough about a February game versus Sacramento on a back-to-back to play Chris Paul. Will he play? We haven't heard anything otherwise that he's not going to play. There's nothing official. I don't think he plays, personally. So we'll see. But if he does play, he's definitely an intriguing play. Aaron Gordon's probably going to sit this one out. So that gives more shots to go around for Paul. Second favorite play outside of Dame is Kemba going up against Orlando. I think, there's nobody there to guard him. This is going to be a really fast-paced game. Both these teams like to get up and down. Obviously, Orlando a little bit more. So I think Kemba's in a great spot. The most underlooked guy, he's expensive, but the most underlooked guy you're probably going to see here is Spencer Dinwiddie. Spencer goes up against Corey Joseph. I like Dinwiddie a lot. He's going to go under-owned. He's a good tournament play. I like the play a lot. One of the more intriguing plays for me on the slate at point guard is going to be Isaiah Thomas. And so Isaiah Thomas, we pulled up some of the stats earlier, has absolutely torched the Pelicans, torched them. He puts up 50s left and right versus the Pelicans. And frankly, a lot of guards put that up against the Pelicans. So I think Isaiah makes a really intriguing play. If Al had any audio, he'd be telling you he likes the other side of that matchup. He said he liked Rondo this matchup. He likes ping-ponging Rondo and IT in the matchup. I don't dislike it either. I think in this kind of a fast-paced environment and game with all the points going up on the board in a close game, there's going to be a lot of assists to hand out. I could see Rondo picking up 14 assists. That kind of game for him. Who else do I like here? I don't really like Satoransky too much. I don't like his price for what he's able to do. Granted, it's a good matchup versus New York, but I'm not too fond of it. So one of the things that we do in fantasy is we look at, okay, player A, B, and C are out. Who gets those minutes on that team? Which is the right thing to do. The flip side of that is who on the other end of the floor is going to be guarded by that second and or third string guy. And tonight, with the Hawks having pretty much half of their team sitting because of rest, it makes me look at Ish Smith a little bit closer. As is, the Hawks are really bad at defending the point guard unless that point guard draws some Kent Bazemore, which we've seen happen a lot. But Bazemore's gone, Schroeder's gone, so Ish is going to have virtually a wide open backcourt to himself with nobody around him. So I think a lot of opportunities here for Ish. So we're going to talk about some chalk now because we want you guys to know who is going to garner the top ownership at the point guard position, and that is right back to the Atlanta Hawks. Tyler Dorsey, he's 3,700 on FanDuel. He's going to hit 30 minutes tonight. He's going to probably put up 30 shots tonight. He's a good player. He can definitely produce. Hard to fade. Very hard to fade with his minimum price. Ready? I don't like playing Corey Joseph. Certainly Brooklyn's pretty bad at the position, defensively speaking. And so it's a good game for him. I'm not really a big fan of playing Corey myself. The other guy who's going to be super high chalk is going to be the other likely starting point guard for the Hawks, and that's Malcolm Delaney. So Delaney, he's minimum priced, 3,500 on FanDuel. He's going to see 28, 30 minutes also. You're going to see a lot of tournament lineups are going to have Delaney and Dorsey as their point guards. Keep that in mind. A play that I like here versus Satoransky is going to be Emmanuel Mudiay. I don't know if Mudiay starts or not. He probably doesn't yet. It's probably going to be Jack, but Mudiay is going to see, mid 20 minutes, 25, 28 minutes, going up against Satoransky or whatever second string point guard, that the Wizards roll out there. So I think Mudiay at 4,300 is a pretty good play. Same can be said about Neil Akita. He's 3,600. Stay away from Jerry and Grant. Sneaky play. For those of you that are watching this, sneaky play. While everyone's going at Delaney and Dorsey, there was another point guard on the Hawks named Isaiah Taylor who is going to see upwards of 20 minutes at minimum price that has been shooting lights out, even with the starting backcourt suited up and playing. So a nice little pivot in tournaments there off of those two chalky players would be Isaiah Taylor. That's all I have for point guards. Let's move on to shooting guards. All right, so if we find out that if we find out that Chris Paul and Eric Gordon are not playing today, just play Harden and don't think about it. He's going to be a one-man show. He's going to be playing Sacramento, who's atrocious on both sides of the ball, more on defense, but particularly with Harden, he's going to be doing everything: score, rebound, assists. The guy's going to do everything. So if you hear that Gordon and Chris Paul sits, play Harden. Don't think twice about it. I don't like Oladipo at 10,000, even though I think he gets a phenomenal matchup, but it's a little bit too pricey for Oladipo. Plus, again, right before All-Star break, I don't know how much they're going to push him. So be careful. No Ricky Rubio again tonight for the Jazz. That means Donovan Mitchell will start again at point guard. That means he's got Alfred Payton defense he gets to play against. Phenomenal play. I like it a lot. You're going to see a lot of ownership on Bradley Beal, primarily because he's playing the Knicks. and he doesn't have John Wall still there with him. So I think Beal is a solid play. A guy that I like a lot is DeMar DeRozan. DeMar is shooting guards in general have been torching the Bulls in their backcourt. DeMar is a guy that we know, man, he can put up 50 real points. So when you get a defense that is not very good at guarding you, I like that spot to target. So definitely like DeRozan. I like a lot of Drew Holiday in this game. I like pretty much any player in the Lakers-Pelicans game that's going to see over 25 minutes. Drew Holiday certainly falls into that category. I'm not touching Tyreek Evans. Not going to do it. He's probably going to get Paul George on him. And there's nobody else really on that team that can help him outside of Marc Gasol, but you got to get past half court to get the ball to Gasol. So I'm not too fond of that. I do like CJ McCollum. I wouldn't be mad at taking the tournament approach of CJ and Steph and Dame and Clay in a tournament. I think that's going to be a great backcourt matchup there. So I like that. So that's for that. Even if Devin Booker plays, while I like him a lot, he's been out for quite a while. I don't know if I can go right to him right away, so you might want to wait and see approach. One of my favorite mid-tier plays here is Jaylen Brown versus the Clippers. The Clippers are not a very good defensive team either. There's going to be a lot of emotions in this game, and I'll explain to you why, which you probably already know, but I'll explain to you why anyways. But I think Jaylen Brown's in the spot where he can torch these guys, whether it's going to be Lou Williams, Austin Rivers, Gallinari, Tobias Harris, Wesley Johnson, any of those Clippers guys on Jaylen Brown, he should be able to do some pretty good damage. So I like that play a lot. Al and I talked about Batum. Batum's in a good place versus Orlando, over 30 minutes. His price hiked up a little bit, but he's in a really, really good spot. So like we said, look, Eric Gordon's questionable, so look out for Gordon. Look to see some news about him. Could probably assume he's not going to play, considering, again, All-Star weekend coming up. Narrative plays. So Avery Bradley is going into Boston to play the Celtics, a team that traded him away in the blink of an eye when they had a chance to get Gordon Hayward. And they went ahead and traded him to Detroit. And he's now with the Clippers and Coach Doc Rivers, both ex-Boston guys going into Boston. And Doc is the kind of guy that he's going to tell his team going into the game, this is Avery Bradley's night. He's back in Boston. They did him dirty. Let's give him the ball. Let's let him score. Let's let it be his night. I can really see that for Avery Bradley. So keep that in mind. Let's see. An interesting play at the shooting guard. So I like the play a little bit more if Satoransky sat along with Frazier, but Satoransky's going to play, so I don't like it as much. But let's kind of wait and see if we get any more news coming out of Washington. But I was going to bring up Jody Meeks as a play, primarily because he gets rotation minutes anyway. Not a lot, but he plays anyways. And if they were going to be down at two guards, then I thought Jody might be able to get some play, but it looks like Satoransky in, so I don't like to play as much. And that's all I got for shooting guards. Small forwards. I see we have some funny folks here in the Slack chat. No, I'm not in witness protection. Just have bad lighting here, that's all. All right. So small forwards. So hands down, favorite play, Kevin Durant, no brainer. If you look at the history between KD and Portland, he's been torching them. So, I mean, it's a play where he's got 50s across the board, some 60s versus them. So they're probably going to start Mo Harkless and or Evan Turner. I think Harkless has been starting more lately. Neither of those guys can keep up with KD. So go ahead and play KD. Michael Beasley. He's a guy that we haven't talked about as much because he's had some pretty bad matchups lately. He's dropped in price. He's now 6,800. I like it a lot. I think Beasley's got a massive ceiling in a game that's supposed to be pretty close. I don't mind it at all. I got to bring this guy up because he now becomes a really good play. Royce O'Neal. So Royce, I've got him scheduled to play roughly 35 minutes against Phoenix. I mean, that's really all you need to know. And he's 4,300, so kind of a no-brainer. Let's see here. Yeah, so Royce O'Neal, probably top value on the play, on the slate. So 4,300, over 30 minutes versus a horrible defensive team. It's kind of a no-brainer. I do like Brandon Ingram. The thing I don't like about Brandon Ingram is with Isaiah Thomas now playing more of the point guard role that Ingram was playing without Lonzo. I think that takes away from his upside a little bit, but he's still in a really good spot. Let's see. Al was pretty fond of playing Allen Crabbe, considering he's just been shooting lights out lately. Typically when a guy gets hot, you kind of want to ride that hot streak. So he's been on fire, so let him keep going. With all of the Hawks players missing today, you're going to see 35 minutes of Taurean Prince. The problem with Prince is he's really boomer bust. If ever an opportunity, this is his opportunity. He's going to have a lot of chances to be the main guy of that team today, but again, he's just so boomer bust. I think he's a good tournament play. Oubre. Really like Oubre. I think Oubre, with yet another guard missing in Washington's backcourt, I think Oubre is going to handle the ball a lot. He's going to get at least 30 minutes. What is his price? He's 5,100 on FanDuel. Really, really good play. I don't mind Stanley Johnson. I just not so in love with the 5,300 for him. He's came down. He was at 5,800 yesterday. But he does get a good matchup versus Atlanta, so I don't mind that at all. Looking at the bottom of the barrel, so to speak, now in terms of way cheaper prices for small forward, somebody you probably want to pair with Kevin Durant. I don't believe I'm going to say this, but I am. I actually like Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. I like the matchup versus Orlando. I like the pace of the game. Orlando is very turnover prone. I can see this game turn into a shootout, and in the shootout run and gun style of play, MKG does really well. As long as we don't have to see that crooked jump shot, I like it. So I could definitely get behind some of that. At 4,700, I don't mind Reggie Bullock because there's going to be no Bazemore for the Hawks to harass him if he gets hot. So I can definitely get behind a play like Reggie Bullock. As far as small forwards go, it's pretty much all that I'm interested in. I might take a shot at a minimum price guy here in Darius Miller. He's playing the Lakers. I've got him at 25 minutes a game here. So I like that for minimum price. Can definitely give that a shot in tournaments. All right. Power forwards. it's funny to me to be able to do a live stream like this one and go into Slack while I'm on and just see people's comments to what I said. I think that's technology at its finest. Power forwards. So you're probably going to see a lot of folks go after Blake Griffin. I don't mind Blake Griffin. I mean, the guy's a beast. He's going up against the soft interior defense of the Hawks. Blake is 9K, and there are so many studs that I absolutely love tonight. I don't know if I want to spend my money up there. If I'm going to spend up, I want to look at a guy like Mirotic. And so here's my game theory on Mirotic. Mirotic now comes off the bench. They've got Okafor starting at the 5. I don't know why they have him at Okafor, but they do. And they have obviously Anthony Davis at the 4. And so that means that Kyle Kuzma and Nikola Mirotic are going to be playing against each other in a fast-paced game with an insane over-under. It's supposed to be really, really close. I don't mind ping-ponging Kuzma and Mirotic here in tournaments. I think you can get a lot of points from both of those guys. So I definitely like that play. Yes, Mirotic for the wins. Correct. So those are 2 plays. And then I mentioned Kuzma. Let's see who else do I really like here today. So we got to give some love to John Collins, because usually the reason why John Collins doesn't play is because Ilyasova is there starting, takes away a lot of his minutes. Well, Ilyasova is out. So at 5,100 versus Detroit, I like it. Definitely like that play. I don't mind Derek Favors because he's going up against the Suns. So I don't mind that at all. But in fact, I actually like it because the only way Phoenix has a chance at this game is if they go really run and gun and pick up the pace and make it a fast game. So to make it difficult on Gobert. And if they make it difficult on Gobert, you guys remember when Gobert was out, Favors played the center, and he can definitely do something like that. So I'm not against Favors. I think it's a good play. It looks like Markieff Morris is back for the Wiz, and ever since number one, he's probably going to have Michael Beasley guarding him. That's always something that I want to target. Is when Michael Beasley is guarding a player, I usually roster that player. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, since Wall has been out, his usage for Markieff has gone over 20%. So he is 6,100. It's a little pricey, but it's not a bad play. Bigs versus Brooklyn. We always target Bigs versus Brooklyn. Thad Young is a big. You want to look at Thad Young. The play that I like even more is Sabonis. If for whatever reason Miles Turner gets into foul trouble, which he does a lot, or if the game gets out of hand, which is very possible, Sabonis gets a little bit more run. Second unit bigs against Brooklyn destroys that team. So Sabonis is under 5K, $4,900. Might see some extended minutes. Yeah, I like it. Let's see. So here's a play that I might actually get behind, and that's so we had a lot of trades go down before the trade deadline. This one is not the sexiest, the splashiest, the biggest name, but I think this is the best fit of any of the players that got traded in terms of what team they went to. Jay Crowder was built to play for the Jazz. I mean, that city, blue collar, that team, it's the kind of team that kind of brings their lunch pail to work. You've got guys like Favors and Ingles and Gobert, or just hardworking basketball players. Jay Crowder fits that to a T. Plays defense, can shoot the 3 ball. He can kind of mask some of Donovan Mitchell's defensive deficiencies that he has because he's a rookie, and a lot of rookies don't play good defense. So he'll be great on both ends of the ball at some point. But until he gets there, Jay Crowder is phenomenal for that team. I think Jay Crowder, I've got him projected at 33 minutes for today's game versus Phoenix. Yeah, I'm all in. I love that. It's a great play for me. Again, I don't like the price as much. I liked it more the other night when he was 3,700. But so he did go up significantly, but for good reason. He's a good player. Dragan Bender is going to be the starting center today for the Phoenix Suns against the Utah Jazz. And most of you know that the Utah Jazz have a guy named Rudy Gobert at the center. So think about Rudy Gobert, the Stifle Tower, whatever they call his nickname, and then think about Dragan Bender having to guard him. The only advantage Bender has is he can stretch out the game and shoot the three ball, which Gobert does not do. So that's somewhat of an advantage. Like I said, if they want to have a chance at this game, they're going to have to run and gun. I just don't like the matchup for Bender. He's in a really tough spot against Gobert, so I kind of feel bad for him. Sneaky play. I won a lot of exposure to the last game of the night, Golden State Portland. And I think Aminu is going to be needed a lot because they are going to – Golden State goes really small. We know that. Zaza starts the game, but he doesn't play more than 20 minutes a game, sometimes less. And they end up running out, Steph, Clay, KD, Iguodala, Draymond. Draymond's back today. So they're going to need Aminu to play some defense. Aminu can get hot as well. I think Aminu's a nice play under 5K, probably really low ownership. I like that play a lot. Yes, the Dingo dude. Bender sucks at the 5. I agree, especially against Gobert. I mean, a lot of players suck against Gobert, but Bender even more so. So I agree with you on that one. All right. So for you that are watching and that are building GPP lineups, I'm going to give you my favorite power forward GPP sneaky play of the night. One of my favorite games as well, which is Orlando, Indiana. And Orlando, Charlotte. And that is going to be Khem Birch. Khem is, in the last 4 games, his minutes have been increasing game by game by game by game by game. He went from 17, 18, 24, 26, something like that. I'll look at the exact numbers here in Slack later on for you guys, but his numbers have been trending up. His minutes have been trending up. Charlotte is one of the worst defensive teams at the power forward spot in the entire league. It's a combination of Marvin Williams and Frank Kaminsky. They suck on defense. So I'm looking at him getting in the mid-20s in terms of minutes, 24, 26. If he does well, it could go more at $4,400 with his upside and his ceiling. That's probably my favorite power forward GPP play. All right. So just like you love targeting Brooklyn down low, I equally as excited to target the Pacers down low. Between Miles Turner and Thad Young, they haven't been good statistically down there. So Brooklyn has a guy in Quincy Acey that is now shooting the 3 ball. They're falling for him. He can get rebounds. He can score down low. Probably go really under-owned, which is understandable. There's a lot of really good plays tonight. And so I think ownership will probably be all over the place. But I think you can definitely look at some Quincy Acey at 4,400. Al brought up another interesting point that if Nurkic ends up sitting, you're going to see possibly 30 minutes of Ed Davis. Ed Davis is $3,800. He's going to be needed to rebound and block shots, even though the Warriors shoot threes, so there aren't too many shot blocks to go around. But there's tons of rebounds to go around, and there's tons of dunks to go around, particularly with the way Dame likes to penetrate, and so does CJ. And so I think that's something to look at. You might, if Nurkic sits, I love Ed Davis right away. All right, power forwards. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got for power forwards. Center. I'm going to make this very simple. There's two ways to go at tournaments. Play Anthony Davis or don't play Anthony Davis. There's not much. I mean, I think Davis will probably end up being the highest scoring player on the slate. He's going to match up almost the entire game with Julius Randle, who is not a bad defender, but he's undersized compared to AD, which makes me equally like the opposite side of that matchup in Julius Randle. Those are probably my two favorite centers. If you can get them both on DraftKings, I would do that. Obviously, FanDuel, you can only get one of them. I really wish they would put Randle at the power forward on FanDuel, because he's the starting power forward for the 27 minutes a game that Brook Lopez is on the floor. Randle is a power forward. And I get it. He plays the small ball five for them a lot. So, yes, but he starts the power forward. He should be power forward. But anyways, he's not. So Anthony Davis, phenomenal play. Andre Drummond, phenomenal play. I think tonight AD is in a better paced game for his style of play. But you can't go wrong with either. I just think if you're asking me who has the higher ceiling given the matchup, I'd probably go with Anthony Davis. But AD or AD, they're both AD. Andre Drummond or Anthony Davis, I don't have a problem with either. All right. A little bit of a narrative to talk about. Dwight Howard is going back to Orlando to play the Magic. Tournament play all over it. There's going to be a lot of emotions there. We know Dwight loves to show up his former teams. We know there's a lot of discourse between the Orlando Magic and Dwight Howard and the way he took off. So something to look at. I definitely like the narrative there. Let's see what else we got here. Speaking of narratives, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit disappointed. So one of the games that I circled on my calendar, Joel Embiid, Hassan Whiteside. When those two play each other, they troll each other on Twitter. Embiid trolls everyone, but Whiteside trolls back. They have a great smack-talking session last game to where Embiid fouled out Whiteside, and Whiteside turns over to Coach Spoelstra and says, sub him out. He can't guard me. Sub him out. And so I was really looking forward to those two meeting again. Unfortunately, it looks like Embiid's questionable, and I don't think they're going to let him play before All-Star break. We'll see. We'll see if we get some different news, but I'm guessing he probably sits. I don't mind Gobert. Gobert garners a little bit of risk. Number one, he might get thrown in jail for breaking Dragan Bender into 5 pieces. So I want to be careful about that. Number two, I think the only way, and I'm assuming that Booker plays for Phoenix. So the only way that Phoenix has a shot at winning or keeping the game close is by doing a run and gun and keeping the game fast to try to get Gobert off the court. And because anytime you want to beat the Jazz, you're not going to out-Jazz the Jazz. So you've got to outrun the Jazz and outgun the Jazz, which makes me love Donovan Mitchell even more, by the way, because of that reason. But there is a risk that Phoenix is able to get Gobert off the court because they're playing such an up-tempo game that you might – there's a little bit of risk there. And that's where I think the favors play comes in. So a little bit of game theory there. If you think they're going to run Gobert off the court, go with favors at the power forward. Targeting bigs versus Brooklyn, right? Miles Turner. I really like Miles Turner here in tournaments. I mean, ADVP is horrible for the Nets. Sorry, Al, we love you, but they suck down low. So I think Miles Turner can put up a burger if he doesn't foul out during warmups like he usually does. So something to look at. Al was a big fan of Enes Kanter. Without Porzingis, there are a lot more rebounds and shots down low to go around for Kanter. Plus, anybody that goes against Gortat and that horrible mohawk of his is something I want to target. And so Kanter should be able to win that matchup with Gortat. All right. Another interesting play. So as much as Atlanta gives up down low, so does Detroit, which is surprising because they have Drummond. But defensively, we're finally going to now see some more usage for Dedmon because of all those guys missing. So with all of the great names on the center slate tonight, I can see Dedmon coming in and just trolling all of us and, putting up 50 against Andre Drummond. I'm not saying he will, right? But I'm saying it's a very intriguing play because the matchup and the ADVP is fantastic. And he's going to be needed to score. And he shoots the three ball pretty well this season, last season. So something very intriguing for me. Not so fond of Jared Allen. I don't mind it against the Pacers. 5,800. Tonight's the kind of night, guys, where you're looking to get at least in tournaments, at least 40 from every one of your players, because they're going to be some. I think there's going to be some really crazy scores out there. And if you want to win a tournament, you're going to have a crazy score by yourself. I don't see Allen getting 45 points. So might want to look elsewhere. If you're looking for a minimum price guy that has the potential to go off, I might consider giving a shot to Mike Muscala. And primarily because, again, the Hawks are missing a ton of guys. Muscala has had, when he's played minutes this season, he's played very, very well. He can also shoot the three ball, but he can actually make them, right? Dedmon shoots them, and he's not the greatest at making them. Muscala's a pretty good three-point shooter. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's definitely a minimum price player that I'm interested in playing. That's, for me, the bottom of the barrel. You might be saying, well, Tyson Chandler is out. Why wouldn't you play some Alex Len at 4K? Well, Alex Len doesn't play. I mean, I like him as a player. I think he has great potential. He must have done something to really piss off Triano because he doesn't get any minutes at all. So unfortunately, it's too hard to trust. And that's all I got. I appreciate everybody for tuning in to this first live version of the pod. And I appreciate Al for getting to hit record. So we're able to now do this live on YouTube. For any of you that don't follow me on Twitter, hit me at Mr. Bear here. You can ask me questions on Twitter. We can talk basketball there. And of course, for all the members of the DFS Army, I'm always in Slack giving out my plays and some of my thoughts and my ideas, etc., and some data. So thank you, everyone. I appreciate the time, and talk to you guys soon.